All right, today we're going to discuss Chapter 5, Geometric Relationships, focusing on Lesson 6, Transformations. So transformations are a change in a figure's position or size. So transformations are a change in a figure's position or size. Now remember, we talked about a particular transformation. Do you guys remember what the transformation was? It was called a dilation. And dilations, though, that changed the size of the figure, right? You had a figure and then it was kind of like your pupil, right? You got a pupil and then it dilates and gets bigger. So if like this is our pupil, a dilation would be like that, or you start here and then you get smaller. You can either get bigger or smaller, and then we talked about a scale factor. So that's one type of transformation. But today we're not focusing on that one. We're going to focus and learn about some other types of transformations. We will discuss 3 types of transformations. This is one we've already talked about, so 3 new ones. The first is a translation, okay? And a translation, that is a translation slides a figure along a line without turning. So you have this triangle here and then it just slides there. So let's say I have this. Okay, I got this lovely little cube. Okay, a translation would mean it would slide this way, or it would slide that way, or slide up, or slide over here, or come back this way. Those would be translations. So it stays in the same kind of position. It just slides somewhere else. That is a translation, and sometimes they call it a glide. You're gliding somewhere. All right? So that is a translation. The next is a I guess we'll go with reflection, right? That's the next one. A reflection would be something like this. Like you have, this is the line of reflection. A reflection flips the figure across a line to create a mirror image. So here, this is the line of reflection. We have this figure, and then it just flips over here. So if I had my pause dragon here, a reflection would mean that the pause dragon would flip over the line and reflect over here. That would be a reflection, okay? It's almost kind of like a mirror. When you're looking at the mirror and you see yourself, that's a reflection. Okay, so we have translation, which is a slide. Reflection, which is, you know, it reflects, like this hand reflects over here across that line. And then the other is rotation. A rotation turns the figure around a point called the center of rotation. So we have this figure here, and this is the center of rotation, and it's just kind of like rotating around this figure. So if we had this, it would just kind of be rotating. Well, let me move this so it's a little lower so everything's in the camera. Okay. Well, I might have to make it smaller. Okay, so here, it would be rotating around this point, and it just kind of is this point right here, and it just kind of rotates all the way around this point, kind of like a spinner, you know, like you ever see those spinners and you flick it and then it spins all the way around? That spinner is rotating, so that's a rotation. Okay, perfect. So that's kind of all 3, just a little introduction of where we're going. We're going to discuss 3 types of transformations: a translation, a slide, reflection, right? That is reflecting over a line of reflection, or a rotation, where it rotates all the way around, right? Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about translations or glides, right? So that's what we're going to do first. So translation. What this says is that every point in the object is moved the same direction and the same distance to form the image. So we have these little vertices right here. So this is where we're starting. When it moves, that's the image. That's what you end up with. So this is the start, and the image is where you finish. Okay? So let's call this A, and where you finish, you call that A prime. Okay, so let's see what happens. For here, we're going up 1, 2, 3. So we're going up 3 and over 2, right? 1, 2. Well, that should be the same case for every point. So if we call this B, we start at B, we end at B prime. What this means is we should go up 3 and over 2. So let's see if that happens. We go up 1, 2, 3, that's good. And then over 1, 2, boom, same thing, that's perfect. 3 and 2. And what about this? Let's call this C, and this would be C prime. We should do the same thing here. Go up 1, 2, 3, perfect, and over 2. So that's what it's talking about. Every point, A, B, and C, in the object is moved the same direction and the same distance to form the image. Okay? So here's our start, here's our end. For this one and this one, we're going over 2 units to the right and 4 units up. Okay? Here, we're going over 2 to the right and 4 up. And here, 2 to the right and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Okay, so you're doing the same thing every single time. And the way that you write that, whether you're going right, let's say you're starting with a point, x, y. If you go right, that is affecting the x coordinate, so you're adding a. And then you have y. If you're going left, okay, that would be going in the negative direction, and that affects the x coordinate, so it would be x minus a. Okay? And then if you're going up, that affects the y coordinate. When you're going up, you're going in a positive direction, so you'd add b to the y coordinate. Or if you're going down by b units, you're going in the negative direction. That affects the y coordinate of a point. You would subtract b. So let's go here and talk about this one, right? So I have my point, my x and y, which I'm starting with. And then what's happening? I'm going 2 to the right, which is in the positive direction. So that affects the x. So I'm going to go x plus 2. And then I'm going up 4, which affects the y. So it would be y plus 4. So that would be the translation rule for this particular translation. If I go up here, right, this one was a little different. I start with x, y. And the translation rule would be what's happening here. For the x, I'm going over 1, 2, so I'm adding 2. And then for the y, I went over 2 and then up 1, 2, 3. So I'm going in the positive direction, so I'd add 3. And that would be the translation rule for this particular figure. All right, so let's go ahead and look at a few examples. So example 1, graphing translations on a coordinate plane. So it says graph the translation of triangle PQR, R units left and 4 units down. Okay, so that rule would be, I like to write the rule first, XY goes to 3 units left. So 3 units left would be going in the negative direction. That would be X minus 3. And then 4 units down, that's affecting going down and up. That affects the y coordinate, and we're going down, so that would be in a negative direction, so it would be y minus 4. So that is our translation rule. So we're going to do that for every single one of these points, P, Q, and R. So I'm going to start with P, and what is the point for P? P is 1, 2. Okay, then I'm going to apply this rule, and I'm going to get P prime. Okay, so here's my x, so I put that in 1, minus 3, right, that's the rule. And then here's my y, which is 2, then I go 2 minus 4. And that's going to tell me what my P prime is. So 1 take away 3 would be negative 2. 2 take away 4 is also negative 2. So my P prime is negative 2, negative 2. So negative 2, negative 2. This would be P prime. And if I look here and I want to check my answer, that would be 3 units to the left, 1, 2, 3, and 4 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, let's go to R. R is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the X, and up 1, 2, 3. Now I want to go to R prime, so I'm going to use this translation rule. Here is my X is 5, and I'm going to do the rule of -3, comma, and then I need my Y, which is 3, -4. And that's going to give me what my R prime is. 5 take away 3 is 2. 3 take away 4 is -1, right? So then I just go ahead and plot that. R prime is 2, -1. So 2, -1 is right here. This is my R prime. And I can check that, right? So if I start here and I go 3 units to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4 units down, 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. And then my last one, Q. And Q is, what is the point? 1, 2, 3. And then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go to Q prime. And I'm going to use this translation rule. So this is my X, 3. And then I do this rule, -3. And then here's my Y, 4. And then I do this rule, -4. Ooh, this one's going to be fun. And then I end up with Q prime. 3 take away 3 is 0. 4 take away 4 is 0. Boom. Q prime is 0, 0, right on the origin. Okay, and I can check, right, over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I have, this is where I started, and this is my image right here. This is what I ended up with after a translation of 3 units left and 4 units down. All right. So now I want you to go ahead and try it on your own. Please show all your work here like I did. Or how about you try to write this rule first, right? Show your work and then graph the figure, okay? So here's B. And here's my friend, the pause dragon. Remind you to pause your device. Go ahead and work this problem out. When you get done, press play and we'll talk about it together. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, let's see how you did. So, graph the translation X, Y, Z, 3 units right and 2 units up. Okay, so what is that? That's X, Y. Goes to 3 units right, that is the X. So to the right is positive, so we go +3. And 2 units up is affecting the Y, and it's going in positive, up, which is positive, so it would be Y +2. So that's the rule. Perfect. Okay, so let's start with our vertices. I'm going to start with X. X is 0, 0. Super easy. And then we just apply this rule, this translation rule, and I'm going to get X prime. So my X is 0 +3, and my Y is 0 +2. That means I end up with X prime being 3, 2. And I can graph that. 1, 2, 3, up 2 would be right here, and this is my X prime. And 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, and 2 units up, 1, 2, perfect. Okay, let's go to Y. Y is the point 2, 0. And I'm going to go to Y prime and just use this translation rule, which is 2 + 3 and 0 + 2. And that's going to give me Y prime. 2 + 3 is 5, 0 + 2 is 2, and there we have it. So 5, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2 would be right here, and that is my Y prime. Okay, and then let's see, what, 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, up 2. So yes, that's right. And then we're Z. That's the last one, and Z is 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4. So we just apply this translation rule right here to the X part. We have 2, that's our X is 2, and then we do the rule of +3. And then our Y is 4, and then we do the rule of +2. And we end up with Z prime, which is 2 + 3 is 5, 4 + 2 is 6, And yeah, so 5 and then up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is Z prime. And let's see, 3 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, up 2. Perfect. So there we have our triangle. This is what we started with, and then this right here is what we're ending with, and this is called our image. So if you showed all your work and then you graphed it properly, wonderful job, and I will see you in a little bit for example 2.